Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
I think me and Sarah in both our practices do see first-time moms, second-time moms. You never know what kind of experience you're going to have with a baby, and we always like to really validate moms that if this feeding experience feels different than your first, or the sleep experience feels different than your first, even the pregnancies, that's really normal, and we really like to encourage those second-time, third-time moms to reach out if they're feeling any of those differences.
Every baby's different.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home.
Welcome to the porch. I am very excited and happy to have two special ladies from Medicine Hat with us today. They are the Mama Coaches, new business here in Medicine Hat. We have Tia Heinrichs and Sarah Clarke joining us. They are registered nurses and they are running a business called Mama Coach. My first question is for you, Tia. What is Mama Coach?
That's a great question. So I met Sarah in the NICU. We're both registered nurses that work in the NICU, and she has had her private practice for 4.5 years. And when we met in the NICU, she approached me and said, hey, I'm providing this support in the community, and I'd really love a partner in this so that we can show up with more accessibility and more consistently. And I was so honored and flattered to be approached by her, so I opened my own private nursing practice under the Mama Coach brand about 1.5 years ago. And really what the nursing practice involves is we get amazing education and amazing resources where we can provide support to families in regards to feeding, sleep, prenatal education, starting solids. So really, we both own private nursing practices under this brand, and it just helps us really show up consistently in the community to provide evidence-based support.
Sarah, why did you want to be a Mama Coach?
Well, it actually came from my own personal experience of becoming a mom. I had my firstborn son in 2020, so at the height of the COVID pandemic, and I really felt like there was lacking resources for new moms during that time. I was having a heck of a time with feeding him, heck of a time with getting him to sleep. I felt like my mental health was dwindling by the day, and after that experience, I went back to work. I actually was an emergency room nurse, and I went back to work, and I thought to myself, I feel called to do something else. And I actually worked with a Mama Coach when it came to getting my son to sleep better when he was about 4 or 5 months old. And it was a game changer for me. And it made such a difference in my life, made such a difference in my mental health. And I thought, hey, how cool would it be for me to actually provide these resources for moms in Medicine Hat? And it was perfect timing because there was a Mama Coach in Medicine Hat. She had started a different venture, and there was a need there, so I filled it.
I've heard of someone called a doula that helps with birth. What is the difference, for a layperson? What's the difference between what you guys are doing and what a doula is?
So it's definitely different when it comes to the education. To be a Mama Coach, you have to be a registered nurse. So that means having a bachelor's degree in nursing. And it really comes from more of a evidence-based type. It's not saying that doulas don't provide that kind of service, but it is more evidence-based, and it comes from just a bit more education. And with a doula, they can help a mom when pregnancy, they can help a mom during their birth, they can help a mom after their birth. And our services are a bit different. We don't attend births for moms or anything like that. We provide evidence-based education prenatally in regards to prenatal education, in regards to feeding. And then afterwards, too, we have a clinic space, and we can also provide home services where we can help moms with feeding, and we can help moms with sleep and that sort of thing. So it is a bit different in that way.
Do you find that your clientele are all first-time moms, or is it a mix?
It really is a mix, but we do find we service a lot of first-time moms where they do feel maybe a little overwhelmed, especially when it comes to feeding difficulties. But I think me and Sarah in both our practices do see first-time moms, second-time moms. You never know what kind of experience you're going to have with a baby. And we always like to really validate moms that if this feeding experience feels different than your first, or the sleep experience feels different than your first, even the pregnancies, that's really normal. And we really like to encourage those second time, third time moms to reach out if they're feeling any of those differences.
Every baby's different.
I don't have any babies. I never had babies, but I mean, I'm an auntie and a sister to women who had children, and the idea of fostering confidence in a new mom is something that I think traditionally it was sort of a community thing, and now that people maybe only have one or two kids and they don't necessarily live where their family is, service like yours is probably more needed now than it was, say, 50 years ago.
100%. Like when I think about your village and creating a village around you to raise your children, it is so much different in our modern world. And so, where someone like a new mom maybe have got breastfeeding support from, their mother or their grandmother or their neighbor, now it's a little bit different where they don't have that and they don't have those accessible family members to be able to support them. And now too, there is just a lot more research and evidence. And I think when it comes to our practice, that's what we want to make moms aware of, because I do find like people's social media accounts or TikTok, Instagram is becoming like a bit of an extension of their village. And some of that information that you find on there is not necessarily credible, not necessarily the right information. Sometimes it's a lot of people's opinions, and it can be very overwhelming for a new mom to sift through a lot of these different reels that give their opinions and, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And so when it comes to our practice, we really want to give parents the tools to be able to kind of deal with some of the issues that they're dealing with, but also come from like an evidence-based practice, being like there's research to guide what we are telling you to do.
Tia, as a mom yourself and going through the experience of motherhood and those first trying months where you're going through hormonal changes and you're going through trying to keep somebody else alive beside yourself, how was that experience for you, and how could you have benefited from a coach?
I love that you're asking me this question, because so much of my passion for this and why I feel so honored to be able to do this with Sarah is I'm really honest that my first year of motherhood was probably one of the hardest years of my life. I was living in Edmonton. I didn't have any family, and my husband was very, very busy with his medical training, and so I really did kind of do a lot on my own. And looking back, there's so many times where I just think to myself, if I would have reached out for supports and, kind of created that village that Sarah had referenced, I know that first year wouldn't have been as hard as it was, because I dealt with feeding difficulties, which I know Sarah can relate to as well. I dealt with sleep difficulties, and I just felt like I didn't have easy supports available to me, but I think I was also in such a state of overwhelm, I didn't really know where to look as well. So after every time me and Sarah do a prenatal class together or any kind of education class, a part of me just kind of reflects upon my own experience. And I think what I love about me and Sarah working together is we're both really honest with moms about our hardships. And I think it kind of helps drive our passion to show up for these moms and validate them. And we really come from a place of no judgment. We just want moms and families to feel really validated and safe when they're accessing our care.
So do mama coaches coach dadas?
Of course. Yes, it's a whole family thing. So even in our prenatal classes, we always say, bring your partner. Like, they're your best advocate in the delivery room. When we work with families, when it comes to sleep, a lot of times the dads will kind of join in on that consult, because it is a team effort a lot of the time, especially if mom is, a working mom as well. Some of the dad has to kind of step up and also help with those things. So we always encourage the whole family to kind of be involved. And when it comes to sleep too, especially if they have other kids, like, we have to take that into consideration too. So it's like a whole family unit that we are kind of approaching and trying to support.
I know, like with my sisters, and sisters-in-law, it was more the sleep when the baby sleeps was the big rule, right? And with my nieces, I know they thought, well, that's when I can get things done. Well, then they just ended up overwhelmed and exhausted. And then they just kind of, ended up sleeping when the baby slept. There are, I know you talk about evidence-based and fact-based and researched information. Is there any sort of those old wives' tales that ring true?
I can't think of any, like, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say that everyone has their own experience, and if you believe in a wives' tale and you're like, you know what, I did this and it was so true for me, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you get your evidence-based information?
That's, I think that's why opening a private nursing practice under this brand is so beneficial, because truly any registered nurse can open up a private nursing practice. But with the Mama Coach, what I find to be such a benefit, especially as a newly trained one, is that they are constantly updating guidelines from the Canadian Pediatric Society, the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and that level of continuing education, as like any kind of private healthcare practitioner, it takes a lot of effort to be diving deep into the new research articles and staying on top of all the new guidelines. And I find being affiliated with the Mama Coach, it really helps us learn what the new guidelines are in a really timely manner. The headquarters of the Mama Coach are always updating our ebooks, our templates, so that any information we're giving out to families, you can really guarantee it is the most up-to-date guidelines based on the most current research. And that is truly what I find the most like beneficial part of me being affiliated with this amazing brand, is I know that what we are delivering is up to standards for Canadian healthcare.
That's awesome to hear. Just quickly, can we talk about your practice, where it is, and how do people kind of find you if they're looking for a coach? If there is maybe a grandma that's going to push a mama over your way.
Grandmas are our best supporters.
Yeah.
When I first started my practice, I started just with home visits and seeing people in their own space. I have done a lot of like community collaboration. We do a lot of our classes at Bumbleboo, which is a baby boutique here in town, and I use their space. They have a wonderful space that we use for group workshops. We host mama meetups there as well, which is a free basically meetup that we do every single month for moms just to come to connect with one another, ask us questions, and then we just recently in September found that there was a need to have a bit of a space for people to come, especially if they were from out of town, because we do have a lot of people coming and utilizing our services from surrounding communities. And so we did open up a clinic space in Empower Med, which is just on Kingsway Ave, and it's a wonderful space. Everyone who comes in says, oh, this is awesome. But it's a women-owned and run clinic, and they support women in many different periods of their life. And so it's a great fit for us to be in that clinic with them.
Yeah, and if you want to find us, we usually recommend following us on social media. We do have our website linked to our social media, but I think what we definitely realize is the social media is kind of our business card. So definitely following us both can kind of help you stay up to date on all the events, the meetups Sarah referenced, and then it directly links to all our services if people want to book in.
So one of the other things we should maybe talk about too is it's not just infants that you help. It goes beyond infancy. That's right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We help with so many different milestones, especially when it comes to things like feeding, sleep, and then even potty training services. I know me and Sarah's sleep practices will be helping families with toddler sleep up until the age of even 6 or 7. And then even with potty training services, that's definitely 2 or 3-year-olds. We really do feel like there's so many complex developmental milestones that happen from infancy into toddlerhood. So if you're struggling with any of those, we would encourage you to reach out, and I'm sure there's a way for us to assist you or even refer you in the right direction as well. We're very aware of the other services and providers in the community.
Well, I'm so glad to learn a little bit about your business and what you guys are all about. If there is a website that they can reach out to you to, could you tell me what your website is?
Yeah, so our website's pretty simple. Even if you Googled Sarah Clarke, Mama Coach, Tia Heinrichs, Mama Coach, we will pop up. And we're always highlighting our classes on both our websites, but we are working towards having a joint website, especially for our feeding clinics. So we'll really make sure to announce that on our social media, which will just kind of make booking appointments a bit more accessible. But simply, if you're able to Google our names and Mama Coach, you'll see us right away.
All right, and I will make sure that that's accessible on
Thank
the Bring
you.
Back the Porch
Awesome, thank you.
website and on our podcasts. I want to thank you both for coming in and talking about what you're doing and helping so many moms. Moms are the heartbeat of a family, and so you're really looking after way more people than just one mom. So great that you guys are here, and future success. I hope it's really good for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.